Hi everyone, and welcome to Creative Chelsey. Today I'm excited to be sharing with you my first alternative project using the June 2022 paper pumpkin kit called Pick of the Crop. This fun kit created 9 cards. You get 3 in each of these 3 fun designs, and it also includes 1 canvas bag. If you're interested in watching me unbox this kit or seeing any of my alternative videos, you can click on the playlist and I will link it up here in the top right corner. So what I like to do is take the original designs, which are these cards here, and use maybe a couple other supplies and create my own cards. So today we're going to be creating 2 cards from one card base, and we're going to be using this card base here. These are the cards that I designed using that card base. And the only other thing that we need to add is 2 white card bases to our other supplies from the kit. So let's go ahead and get started. So to make these cards, we need to cut down a couple pieces. One would be the card base, and then we're also using 1 envelope. So I wanted there to be a very minimal border around the outside edge, as you can see here. And so I only cut off an 1/8 or maybe even just a 1/16 of an inch. I think that's what I did, is just trimmed a 1/16 of an inch off of the top. So instead of 5.5 inches, I'm removing a 1/16, and so it's going to be 7/16. 5 and 7/16. And that's off the top. And then in the middle, I'm going to remove this score line. And I'm going to do that by measuring to 4 and 3/16. And that will give me the solid pink side for one of my cards. And then I'm going to rotate and remove again that score line and cut at the exact same measurement. So 4 and 3/16. And that's going to give me this card front as well. So now I have 2 card fronts for my 2 cards. The next thing I want to do is open up my envelope, and I'm just going to trim off the smallest piece from the sides and the bottom. And this is going to open up my envelope and give me some good working pieces, nice and large pieces that I can use. So for one of my cards, I am using this address label design. And you can see here in the background that you don't actually see the lines, but you do get this nice frame. So we're going to just cut out the frame. I'm going to begin by removing this smaller piece here, and we're going to use the other side, I'll show you here, for this bottom piece. So I'm just going to, so in my paper trimmer, along this cutting guide, there is the left side, and I'm just going to line it up so that it's just barely, this bottom line is just barely sitting on that cutting guide. So I don't really want it to be cut too much. It's about, let's see, just 1/16 greater than 3/4. So that would be 13/16, I think. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim that. Here you can see that there's that small little border around the edge. I'm going to go ahead and do the same to this one. And this is sitting just 1/16 smaller than 2.5. So that would be 2 and 7/16. And it doesn't matter if it's even all the way around. Let me see. There we go. So it doesn't matter if it's even because this is not quite straight. It's more hand drawn. And then just keep going all the way around to get a similar distance. I know I have a brand new blade. I'm not sure why it's cutting my paper so jaggedly. Maybe I need to start at the top. That's a little bit better. All right, so you're going to get your frame. from the center of that envelope. And then you will want to hold on to any large pieces. There's still lots we can do with that for our future cards. And then you're going to take this piece that's just under 1 inch and you're going to cut it down so that it fits the same width here. So that would be 5 and 7, or let's see, yeah, 7/16. Okay, so just going to trim that down so that it fits nicely on our card front. So let's go ahead and make this card. We have just cut those extra pieces. So all you need is a basic white card base. I do like to use the thick basic white for my card bases. I think it just holds a little bit better. And then we're going to layer these pieces on top of that card base. I am using the Stamp and Seal Plus. You could use the glue dots that come in the kit as well. So again, we've given this a small little border. I just flipped it around because my score line wasn't quite in the center and this side was the larger side. So a tiny little border. Then we're going to add our pink striped piece and just add this about a 1/2 inch from the bottom. You can use your grid paper if you'd like to kind of make sure that everything lines up nicely. So something like that. Then we're going to add our frame. Again, you could use your glue dots, and this just goes in the center. Just like that. Next, we're going to add our berries, and this is one of those extra pieces that has the strawberries and blueberries. This is from the fruit basket card, so that's this extra piece here. So I do want the top to be popped up, but not the bottom. So I'm going to add 2 dimensionals to the top, and then I can do a little bit of liquid glue or glue dots just at the bottom, and that's going to hold it down in place. And then when you add this, you want to place it right along that bottom line and just make sure you're covering up any of those lines at the top. Okay, so you can see how the top is popped, but the bottom is not. That's kind of a fun little tip when you're doing lots of layers and you want to use dimensionals. So next we're going to stamp our greeting, and I used the You're the Pick of the Crop. And this does come from the stamp set that came in the kit, along with this Calypso Coral Stamp and Spot. So if you haven't seen what comes in the kit, make sure to click on the playlist, and you can find that in the top right corner or down in the description below. And we're just going to go ahead and stamp that right in the center. All right. So it looks a little bit blurry. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp it again on another label. I have a couple extra, and I'm going to just share with you a quick tip on how to get a nice crisp image if you're having issues with some of your stamps. So I used Versamark ink. This is a sticky ink that you use most of the time with embossing powders. And I added that to my stamp first, and then I'm going to go ahead and ink up. So I did not clean the ink off of my stamp. That sticky ink is still there. And what I'm hoping that will do is hold the ink in place so that it will make a nice crisp image when I stamp it. And you can see the difference here. So the top one is the first one I did, and the bottom one is the one with the Versamark. So it definitely can help create a nice crisp image. So I'm going to add this to my card with dimensionals as well. I'm going to leave a nice big gap over here on the right side so that I can tuck in another little grouping of fruit. And this is going to go right near the bottom, I don't want to cover up the frame at all for this one. So you'll see that it's sitting still inside the frame. Then I've got my strawberry and blueberry. There were lots of these from the kit, so I just thought we might as well add another one. Just over here on this side. And what this is going to do is it's going to block off this harsh line here. So I want to make sure I cover that up a little bit. And it's going to make also the edge at the bottom not quite as harsh. So there is the fruit. And then the last thing that I want to do for this card is to add a little bow of linen thread with a glue dot. And you can use the glue dots that came in the kit. I constantly am misplacing mine, so I'm just going to use a glue dot from the roll. This is a nice large roll that you get, or you can get from Stampin' Up. And this is just going to go right there in the corner by the label. And this card is all done. If you have some extra embellishments left over from other projects, you can definitely add some beautiful rhinestones or some, coordinating colors. That would be a fun touch as well. Okay, so moving on to card number 2. I do need to cut this green piece in the background. So I'm going to use one of the pieces left over from the envelope we just cut. This is the back side. I'm going to begin by just trimming off this edge here, and then I'm going to cut it at let's just do 3 1/4, and then 2 3/4. Okay, and what we're going to do is this is going to go behind the vellum piece from the kit, just like that. So on top of this vellum piece, we're going to add a beautiful bouquet of these lilac little clusters. And I'm going to start by placing one full one right in the center, and I'm going to add it with just one dimensional at the top. So just find the center, just kind of eyeball it. So it looks something like this. Then we're going to take a second one. Oh, it's not lilac, excuse me, lavender. Just remembered I had said that wrong. And I'm going to cut it in half. So I'm looking for that tall piece, and then just right next to that tall piece. That's where I'm cutting it. And then I'm going to add this to each side with just a little glue. And again, you could use the glue dots that come in the kit. So you're just going to tuck it so that you don't see that straight edge. And you can change the height just a little bit if you want. And you're going to get something that looks like that. So multi-layered bouquet of lavender. Then on the back, you can add your adhesive and add this to that rectangle we just cut. So let's go ahead and put some of these things together, and then we'll add our greeting. I have another card base of thick basic white cardstock, and I'm going to just add my beautiful sunset right on top. I love the colors in this card base. It's so pretty. A nice skinny border again, all the way around. And then this just gets added right to the center. And we want to make sure we add it above this fun foliage here. So make sure it goes in the sky. Now I'm going to stamp, and because I had that issue with my first image, I'm going to go ahead and just start with Versamark. And I'm stamping Love You a whole bunch, and then ink it up with the Calypso Coral. And I'm going to place it so that the hole is on the left. If you wanted, you could flip it so that the tag hole is on the right. That's totally up to you, how you want to do that. Okay, nice crisp image there. I do want to pop this up with a dimensional, and I'm going to place it on the outside edge and then just add it to about the middle so that the tag is about middle to your bouquet. And then I do have a piece of linen thread that I need to tie a bow. And then you just add that with a glue dot. And these glue dots are a little bit on the large side, so what I like to do is just kind of wrap it so it's just behind the bow. And then you can add it right to where it would be tied. And you can kind of play around with the shape of the bow a little bit, depending on how you want it to cover up any of that greeting. So if you need to tack that down, I would suggest using just another little glue dot on the back. So just like that. And that card is all done. Again, if you want to add any embellishments to it, you definitely can do that. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching me create my first alternative project using the June 2022 Paper Pumpkin Kit. If you're interested in getting your own paper pumpkin kit so that you can create fun monthly crafting projects, please use the link in the description box below to subscribe. If you'd like to see written instructions or close-up images of these cards, you can visit my blog, creativechelsey.com. Thanks so much for watching. Have a creative day. Bye.